Hello and welcome to season 4 of the Living Alive show. I have been so excited for this episode to be able to launch season 4. Coming to you today from San Pedro, Belize. We just arrived here last night, and I'm like, finally, I have some time to be able to record this and share with you. So, if you are just new to the show, checking us out for the first time, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I believe time is one of the most precious things. And so thank you for spending that time with us. And if you have not listened to prior shows, go back and check out the other 3 seasons. There are some amazing thought leaders and guests that just really provide you some tools on helping you live your life fully alive. And if you have been with us since the beginning of this journey for the last 3 seasons, thank you for joining us again. This community means so much to me. You guys have no idea. I appreciate your messages and encouragement. And before we dive into today's show, I would really appreciate if you're new, introduce yourself to me. Ways you can reach me. My website is autumnshields.com or thenudges.com. It's a contact form, and or you can find me on most social media platforms under Autumn Shields. I appreciate being able to connect with you. And I want to hear from you. The show is for you. So if you have ideas on different topics, or you feel like there's some area that you're getting stuck in and living your life fully alive, please send those comments to me any way you can. And or maybe there's somebody that you just believe would be a really good guest for the show and you would like to share that with other people. Please pass on their information so we can get them scheduled for the show, because I get some of the best feedback and ideas from you guys. So please continue that. You can also, if you have not already, I'll put the link in the show notes, but you can also connect with us on our Facebook community group, where we constantly are sharing tips and tricks on helping you live your life fully alive. So I'd love to hear from you there, or for you to join that group and maybe just have some inspiration from other people that are living their lives truly alive and helping others. So we are ready to dive in. But before I do, if you do not know me personally, again, I'd like to get to know you. I actually am doing a post today. It is November 21st, 2023, and I'm going to do a post on social media just introducing myself. So I'm not taking tons of time here, but I love hearing people's backgrounds and how things came about. And so without not spending too much time on the podcast, but really, how is this podcast born and really the evolution of it? And so my background has nothing to do with a podcast, and it's not something that I don't consider myself a podcaster. It's just a way for us now to be able to express our voice. And to me, that arena that's important to me is to be able to serve others and helping them live their life truly alive. And so this is just one platform I believe that is a good way to be able to share and connect with others. The background of the Living Alive show is really started probably about 8 years ago while I was living in Maui, Hawaii. And it just came to me. And before I dive into that story, I want to talk about the word nudges, because you're going to hear that a lot about the nudges on this show. The nudges to me are something that kind of comes out of nowhere. And it's something usually that's off the radar, or maybe it's just not a thought I would normally have. So sometimes these happen in very small whispers to me. Sometimes they're getting hit over the head. But usually what happens when I feel nudged, I believe it's a divine nudge. It's something that I call sometimes my guidance, that is divine from God. And some people, wherever you're at in the world, or whatever your background or religion or spirituality is, you can apply it in different ways. And I've actually interviewed people from all over the world on how they consider what a nudge is in their life. But there's a lot of similarities. And what usually happens is when I feel nudged is I just dismiss it, because I think that's funny. That's a weird thought, or there's no way I could do that, or I don't have the resources. And I usually dismiss it. Then I know it's a nudge because it keeps nudging me. It doesn't go away, right? It wasn't just an idea, it's a nudge. And so those nudges usually keep happening and keep happening. And usually I do a really good job resisting it. And what usually happens is I learn to listen and finally surrender and become obedient to those nudges. And from that process, I've learned that I end up in my true purpose in life. I end up exactly where I'm supposed to be. And so sometimes this can be in a very small way, right? one time I had a nudge to pull into this coffee shop and I thought, I don't even want coffee right now. Like, what am I doing here? And the exact person and thing I was looking for, I ran right into. And so it's little things like that, but also big nudges in our lives, like leave that relationship or move or start this career or start this business, things that sometimes are really scary. But we know and we cannot deny it. So regardless of where you're at, you're going to hear that word nudges throughout this show. And I was nudged when I was living in Maui, Hawaii, to write a book called Living Your Life Alive. And again, I dismissed it and thought, who am I? And I don't have time. I can't even hold still. Like, how can I write a book? And that nudge just kept happening. And what's awesome about the nudges, you guys, is that number one, it's usually not about you. It's about the ripple effect because somebody is waiting for you to say yes to that nudge or surrender to it. But number two is the resources appear. And so whenever I've said yes, reluctantly, the resources appear. And when you look backwards, it's amazing. I can say, and most of us can look back in our lives and see how that led to that, that person led to that, or that information led to that. And it's kind of like connecting the dots. And it was just amazing, the people that fell literally right into my path to be able to help me guide me on my journey of publishing my first book. Now I'm on my second book, but really being able to show others how to live their life fully alive. And that is my biggest thing. I was talking to a friend the other day and we were talking about who we really are at the core value. And he said, Autumn, when you talk about serving people and helping people really identify who they are and to step into their own genius spot, he said, you just light up regardless of how you've served people over the years, from way back in my law enforcement career days as a victim advocate to my health and wellness business, to becoming an author and speaker, and really just helping guide other people through the process of living their life fully alive. And people always say, really, what does that mean? Well, what does it mean to you to live your life fully alive? And to me, I recognized what living alive meant to me because I had felt for so long that I wasn't living alive. I felt like I was on a hamster wheel of life and going through the motions of life. And so maybe that's where you're at. Maybe you just kind of feel like, oh my gosh, there has to be more to life than this. Or maybe you're out there, rocking and rolling, but you just maybe you're feeling those nudges and something's holding you back or there's obstacles in your way. So we are going to provide even more awesome tools in season 4 for you. So if you've not subscribed to the show, make sure that you have, because I really appreciate, not only your feedback and being able to connect, but also subscribe so you don't miss those shows. They'll just pop up for you. So when a new show is launched, you'll be notified. So before we dive into the big topics in season 4, I've already interviewed some great guests and I cannot wait to publish those shows, is that I want to challenge us this week to be able to get the most out of this season. I challenge you to turn down the noise. And what does that really mean? What does noise mean? Well, I believe that we get inundated with information all day long, whether it's from the people we're around, it's from the TV in the background, the radio in the background. Most of us, it's usually picking up our phone and scrolling through information, rather it's even just emails or rather it's social media. There's so much information that is we get inundated with. And I recognize this, and I've done a show before about the noise. And the noise to me, I did this like right at the beginning of COVID, was that first show I did on noise. And because there was so much information coming at us, right? And we were all seeking that information. And we were really trying to sort through all that noise and all that information. So I did that at the beginning of COVID, but I recognized it again. I was boating around the British Virgin Islands a few weeks ago. And so I just had a few people on the boat with me. We didn't have a lot of interaction with other people. There was limited internet, and you don't really realize how the noise calms down until you step back into that noise, which happened very quickly when you end up in an international airport. And so from that time I stepped into that airport, I recognized literally within 10 minutes. Now I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound crazy what happened in my brain in 10 minutes, but you guys, it happens to all of us. And so it made me realize I really need to pay attention to that noise. But you guys, within 10 minutes of me picking up my cell phone, I all of a sudden had all this information, and this was what was going on in my head. I literally was like, oh my gosh, I saw something about like getting wrinkles on your chest from sleeping on your side. And I thought, oh my gosh, do I have wrinkles? Like, and then there's this new pad you're supposed to put on your chest so you don't get wrinkles on your chest. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to learn to sleep on my back. And I have to find a pillow to sleep on my back. And I have to get new sheets. Like I have to have a new pillow case so that I'm researching thread counts on pillowcases and new pillows to sleep on my back. In the meantime, I literally within 2 minutes saw that like tomatoes are vital in our diets because of certain things that they possess, right? And then in the next, literally 2 minutes later, I saw something that's tomato skins are some of the most toxic things we can put in our body. So I have conflicting information. All of a sudden, I think, oh my gosh, I really, really need to study tomatoes more. Then I'm listening to midterms in America and how elections are stolen. And can we even trust our electoral system anymore? And where are we at as a country? Like, oh my goodness, I always thought we could trust electoral systems in this democracy. I thought that's where I lived. And now I'm questioning everything from the base. And oh my goodness, I totally need to call my doctor. I just had a pop up that reminded me that I have to call my doctor. I think that's Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. You guys, this all happened within 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, what just happened to my brain? And then I'm worried about the weather because I see a pop up about the weather. You guys, I've done a few things to silence and, really be careful of the noise. But why do we care about the noise? I feel like if we do not turn down the noise, we hear everybody else's narrative except our own. We don't get quiet enough to find our own internal narrative. What is our internal narrative? What do we want to be thinking about and seeking information about? And instead of consuming information, maybe creating, rather it's information or something else, right? So that noise needs to be turned down. And a lot of times, you guys, we don't even realize it because we're just constantly in that noise. Some of us just even thrive in that noise, right? And it's fine sometimes, but sometimes we just get lost in it. And then we're not feeling like we're even living our own lives. We're feeling like we're living everybody else's. Or I know a lot of times, you're seeing everyone else's highlight reel on social media and you're not looking at your own life. You're not looking at the good things in the mirror, the good things in your own life, the good things to be grateful for. You're just sitting there thinking, I'm not enough, or I should be doing more, or I could be doing that. So the noise can be very dangerous for a lot of different reasons. But to me, part of living your life fully alive is being true to yourself and what you want out of life. And sometimes we just have to quiet that down to really find that and what's important to us. So here is my call to action for this week. So you can, again, get the most out of season 4, not only season 4, but just get the most out of your life this week. So first of all, recognize it. Recognize the noise. Where is the noise coming from? Where's all the information coming from? Is it being fed to you or are you seeking information out? Second of all, is my husband actually challenged me to this week when we first landed in another part of Belize. It is so easy to have our cell phones. And as we were looking for real estate and property, you can pick up your phone and I can say, I can find that. I can research that. I can do that. And the next thing you know, an hour of your life passes because I'm down some rabbit hole. I'm sure I'm not the only one that this happens to, but he said, let's do something. He said, let's actually carry pen and paper around. So anything in the morning that we want to pick up our phone to research, we write down on a piece of paper. And then in the afternoon, we can pick up our phones again. We can obviously use our phone to connect with people or do whatever we need to in the morning, like need to, not like go down rabbit holes, research, scroll. But if I still think that that's important, I can do it in the afternoon. So for instance, how much does real estate agents make in Belize? How much are fees? What are closing costs? All these things that are a long list of things. In the meantime, I have like an ongoing to-do list in my head that at any given time, I pick up my phone and I think, oh my gosh, I have to do that. I have to look that up. I forgot to forward that to this person. What happens is then we completely get lost on our days. So we did this for one day. We literally just on a piece of paper, not on our phone, because if I pick up my phone and put in notes, then I'm like, something else is going to pop up and I get to, I'm down, I'm looking at something else. And it helps, especially for those of us who have ADHD, we're bouncing all over the place. So we just wrote it down on the piece of paper and we think we gather so much information so quickly because of the internet, which is awesome, right? We get to I can learn right there. I don't have to go pick up a book or go to the library. I get immediate information, even from experts. I can just log on to YouTube and learn how to do something in 2 seconds. But what happens with that is that we get very diverted from what we're supposed to do or being present in our day. So we decided to do this one day. So we only had a few days by ourselves and we really wanted to be present with each other. So as we're conversing, it's so easy again to pick up the phone and say, well, I'll look that up. Or I saw this one thing about that. We just literally wrote it down on a piece of paper. And in the afternoon, when we picked up that piece of paper, there were only a very few things that we even found important enough to address again. And then we actually dedicated that time to research. So rather, you can just put your phone down and spend that quiet time with yourself. Maybe it's in your prayer time or meditation time. Maybe you don't pick up your phone for the first few hours of your day, or at least take it out of your room. Maybe when you're eating meals, you don't have phones at the table. Maybe it's just that quiet time of being able to write and think by yourself. It's such an important thing to do, is to reset. I spent a few days being able to walk out on a dock and hang out in a hammock in the morning and just look at the water, look at the sky, and we think we have to be somewhere like beautiful. That's not true. You can just walk out anywhere and look up at the sky. I mean, how many of us just stop and look up? And so just simple things like that this week to be able to, number one, recognize it. And remember, number two is just to practice a few things that work for you and play with them, play with it. Like if I don't pick up my phone for the first few hours, or maybe I can just write things down and not just go to Google. And the third thing is I choose to turn notifications off. It takes time, but I went through all my apps. And if you have not done this, what happens is like in 2 seconds, I know like I missed somebody's birthday because Facebook pops up, and then DoorDash, which I haven't even ordered in 6 months, it's popping up with some special and this and that. Like sometimes these notifications just happen and we get sidetracked. And every time we get distracted, it usually takes 2 minutes to get us back on track from what we're doing. So I went through on my computer and my phone and turned off all notifications except text. And on my calendar, like if I put something on my calendar, remind me, that's it. Everything else I get to go to. So if I see the Instagram icon on my phone, I can see that there's messages there, but they're not coming through. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I missed a message. I can go seek that out. When I feel like it, I can open it up and then I can look at my messages. I don't have to get alerted every time. And so it's really helped quiet the noise down for me to be able to seek that information out. So you guys just play with it this week. And I really hope that we can get to a place where we really feel like we're in our own bodies with our own narratives and not looking for external forces to make us happy or ideas on how to live our life fully alive. But it comes from each of us because you are unique in the way that you're made. The calling on your life is unique. The nudges that you're going to experience in your life are extremely unique. And I am so happy and excited and passionate to serve you this season and helping you tune in to life's nudges and help you live your life fully alive. Have a great week.